Hi, my name is Evelyn and I am a lifelong pen enthusiast and crafter. In recent years, I've been much more focused on photojournaling and painting and thought that it might be a good time to get back to my fountain pen hobby. Part of the purpose of this exercise that I'm doing today is to help curate my collection, particularly the ink swatches, and to get rid of some of the bottles that I don't use frequently. So without further ado, I hope you'll join me as I get reacquainted with my supplies and welcome any recommendations for new inks to try. So watching some other videos inspired me to get a handle of what's in my collection for pens, for fountain pen inks, and I realized that I have so many more bottles than I thought I did. So because I am returning to this hobby or passion after a very, very long hiatus, I thought it would be fun to get a handle on what's in my ink collection before I start trying to stock up again. And so as I was organizing all of my samples, I realized most of the colors are in kind of three groupings. There are yellows, there are blues, turquoises, and teals, and there's a random Robert Oster Rose Gold Antiqua and a platinum carbon black thrown in there for good measure. And then I've got 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bottles, and so I think that this will be a fun exercise. And I'm going to start actually with the bottles, and I'll start in order of the one that I purchased first, which was I guess the ink that started the shimmer craze in general, but definitely for me personally as well. I bought this bottle way back when it came out. I don't even know how long ago that was now. I'm gonna try to use one of my acrylic stamps. It's one of my favorites. To stamp it first. Let's see how that goes on. Ooh. And then I think this is a long time ago that I got this ink, so it's the Herbin Emerald de Chevoir, I think. And I'm just going to, got a lot of extra ink unintentionally on there. This is a new swatch pen for me. I did not have any swatching supplies until yesterday, so everything kind of came in all at once in terms of this Kakamori nib and this Tachikawa nib holder that I found thanks to the good pen community, wonderful pen community of Reddit. And so I think I'd prefer to do more of a swatch using the nib of this than using the stamp. Yeah, I feel like you just get a little bit more of the dimension of the ink. And so this jar has seen me through the last decade, and I've used it many times in my pens, but it's still full. The next ink in my collection is an Iroshizuku The color is Murasaki Shikibu. Sorry that I'm butchering all these names. I use these pens and I learned, I do not know very much Japanese outside of the basics, and clearly my pronunciation leaves something to be desired. So this is there we go. Wow, that is so vibrant and pretty. So this is it's so interesting. I don't know if it's because my pen tips, most of them, the nibs were fine before. So I didn't actually like this ink when I inked it up. But since that time, I think I've purchased a bunch of bold nibs, and I might want to try that again. Give that another whirl. Oh dear. This has gone through my Galen Leather Tomoe River paper. It's definitely bled through. Oh well. But yeah, so this Roshizuku Murasaki Shikibu is very, very pretty purple. And I think that with a fatter nib, it would look amazing while journaling or just using my fountain pen. I have to say, I'm so happy I got this Kakamori nib. I was really on the fence about it. I've never swatched any or many of these samples though. And so I keep going back to the same 2 or 3 bottles. So actually this is a wonderful investment, and I think will help me use more of my fountain pen inks. Okay, this is, it's called Black Swan in Australian Roses. Let's see what that's like. Wow. I'm surprised that I bought this in a full bottle. I don't tend to go for these colors, this type of color. I can't even remember where I got this from. Black Swan, Australia. Roses. Not sure how I feel about that one. After I got the Emerald de Revoir, I eyed those ink vent calendars for many, many years, but I knew that my pen ink consumption would never be able to match the volume of inks that I received. I'd never be able to use it up. So I've always resisted, but I don't know if this is a color that I would necessarily have picked out on my own. I wonder how that came into my collection. Anyway, the next ink is also another Roshizuku. It's the color Ajisai, which I'm so happy that I'm doing this because I was about to purchase a whole bunch of, I have a ton of testers from on Goulet Pen's website right now in my cart, and this is actually one of the inks, and lo and behold, I already have a bottle, so I don't need to get one. I find that it's been such an inspiration watching people do their swatches, because it has really compelled me to get a better handle of what I already have so that I can more fully enjoy my collection. Look at that, I just one swirl and then it's great. Let me just check to make sure that we're still in frame. Okay, so it's number 4. Oh, this is a recent addition. It's called Periwinkle Twinkle. I got this at the DC Pen Show, and you can see the shimmer there. I mean, it's just so beautiful. So I got this color because it's called Periwinkle Twinkle. So yes, I am somebody who can be very nostalgic about my selections, and periwinkle is my favorite color, and my is also the handle for a lot of my accounts back in the day, including my AOL Instant Messenger for those elder millennials who remember. Yes, this is actually inked up in 2 different pens right now. One with a very interesting bent nib that really shows off the sheeny properties of this ink. It's got kind of a, you'll see when it dries, it's just, there's definitely shades of turquoise in there, which is very, very interesting. And then of course this kind of like iridescent, it's almost like silver rose gold, if that makes any sense. And then there's the periwinkle as well. So this is Dominant Industries. Periwinkle Twinkle. And I got this at the DC Pen Show in 2023, last year, just last year. So, the next ink is a green, and actually, should I finish out the page? I'll finish out the page. This is one that I received with my most recent pen, which is a Leonardo Momento Zero Grande in the primary manipulation, and it came with this ink. I didn't even realize it would come with an ink. So let's try this out. Wow, it's actually quite vibrant. So in the pen, I don't know why, the ink comes out very, very light in the fine flex nib, and I don't really like it very much, but I might need to try this with a bolder nib. I think I have 2 bold nibs right now, a Twisby in my Rose Gold Eco, and I also have an Esterbrook SD in Aqua with a bold nib. So I might need to try that out. So this is the Leonardo. Oops. Ayo. Let me get that. It is kind of hard to swatch in the corner. Like that. Leonardo. And it's in the turquoise. I debated for a long time whether or not I would do swatches in a book or on cards, and as an avid paper crafter, I've been doing Project Life and December Daily and stuff, other pocket planning type of things for over 10 years now. I have to say that I realize these swatch books are much easier for me to reference in the long term. So I'm going to put a sticker over there, and then we can continue on for the 3 remaining inks. I'm going to go to this rose cyclamen. So this is the only ink I've ever purchased multiple bottles of, and I always make sure that I have at least one pen inked up with this ink. I think that there's just something incredibly special about the clarity of this ink. It takes on different character depending on whether or not your nib is fine or bold, and it's just such a delight to write with. And I will always have this inked up in at least one pen, if not two. It's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I put it in my Elmo. Oh no, this is my Monte Grappa. I think it's the Venetia in Marshmallow, which is just, I love this pen. But look at how bright that is. It's just, the clarity of that color is, it's just mesmerizing to write with. And I look at it all the time. This bottle here is has a similar effect on paper, but in the color green. I really, really like it. So this is a platinum ink. It's one of those mixable inks, and I'm not exactly sure what the specific color is. But you see there, it's such a pure green. It's just so gorgeous. And both of them are just a dream to write with, and they create such beautiful lines, especially with a bolder nib. So those are all my bottles. I have 10. Oh no, I have one more. This is my newest edition, and I got this on the recommendation of, a Amazon reviewer. So I think I'm gonna spell this wrong. I think it's Wearingul, a star-spattered hill. And so she had one of those Jinhao Centennial pens with a bent nib, which is why I bought that pen. And she suggested getting this ink to put in that pen because of the amazing sheening properties of this gold. And I do some calligraphy, or I like to imagine that it looks like calligraphy. I do like to paint with watercolor and gouache as well, and I just thought that this ink might be excuse me, gorgeous as an accent in my paintings and drawings. Paintings, drawings, and lettering projects. So this is, I hope I'm not butchering this, and I will go back and fix it if it's wrong, but it's very difficult to see the name of the company. I think it's Wearingul. There might be an E, but I'm going to start with that. And then a star spattered hill. So that color just looks so pretty as well. I really love all the colors on this page so much. These, I'd say, they do not bring me as much joy writing with them, despite being very beautiful colors. There's just something about writing with these two in particular that just I always have to have a pen in those inks. Another color that I think we're gonna move on to, let's move on now. Let's get the blotting paper first. Let's move on now to my ink samples. So one that is also perpetually inked is the Noodler's Southwest Sunset. This is the most beautiful ink. I just adore it. And I actually bought 2 samples of it because I clearly love it. So here, oh, it is a different beast. I have never ever swatched any of my inks actually, which probably contributed to the fact that I don't use them very often. Okay, so this is a gorgeous color, and I've watched a Goulet Pens video where they've talked about how special this ink is, and they are 100% correct. But just look at that. It's so pretty. So this is Southwest Sunset by Noodlers. And I always have a broad nib pen available for writing in my journal, which is also a Galen leather. What are these called? I think they're called everyday books. They just have beautiful paper. So that's the first sample that I have. Another ink that I have is called Old Gold. And so it's very fitting that they're all on the same page, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's try this out. Okay. Oh wow, that is very interesting. I don't know how I feel about that color. I'm not sure that I've actually ever inked up a pen in this, although I've used some of it, so I probably have. But so this is from the brand KWZ in Old Gold. Yeah. You know, I was experimenting with this nib yesterday. You can do some fun calligraphy stuff. Let me know down in the comments if you'd be interested in seeing that. I'm still learning. I just got this yesterday, so it's really interesting how this nib really, one, allows for you to write for quite an extended period of time. And oh wow, it does bring out like a lot of gradation in the Old Gold. I might like that more than I thought. But this nib has some really interesting properties, and so I can do some interesting lettering techniques using this guy, depending on what angle the nib is at. So I played with that yesterday. Still getting the hang of it because there's no flex to it. And then the last one that I think is in this kind of yellowish corner of my ink samples is called Sazerac by Papier Plume. So let's see what that is all about. I feel like I want it to be on the same page, but maybe that's too much. Let's see. Let me try. Oh dear, that's so funny. It's so similar. It's so similar to the Noodler. So this is Papier Plume. Let's close that up so I don't spill it. This one's Papier Plume. You know, it is very pretty. And see, I'm trying to get a little bit more variation, line variation with this pen. I wonder Yeah, I feel like the Southwest Sunset is still, there's just a lot more depth and richness to that color. So maybe that's just me, but I realize other people do these lines in their ink swatches, but for me, maybe I should do that too. Well, we won't go back and do it. We'll do that moving forward. So the next one, the next set of inks, I have a lot of inks with names that are very suggestive of blue. So there's a lot of blue waters, and sea blue. So let's try this kind of corner out together. So the first one is called Sailor Manio Haha, and I know that this is like a very popular ink that is on a lot of recommended ink lists. So it's a very, very pretty color. I feel like I would really enjoy painting with this color. So this is Sailor Manio. So for me, I think if I were to use this ink, see, I would really need a bolder nib to get all of that beautiful color variation that's on there. I wonder if this paper, it feels slightly different than my other Galen notebook. See, this is the Galen notebook that I was playing with that Wearingu ink. Yeah, this isn't as soft as this one. This one's old though. I've had this since the pandemic, so since 2020. This one I just got last year, but look at how pretty that is. I mean, and you can definitely see the colors and the lines with a bold nib. That would be so cool. I love that. I don't think I would like this with a fine nib, but with a bold nib or with a calligraphy, that would be, I feel compelled to try something. So let's see how that would look. So it's Sailor. Yeah, see? That would look so cool. It's not my best work, but that does, I don't know if it's visible or not, all of the color variation. What a pretty color. I wish it was just a smidge, the dark tone was just a smidge darker, like the purple. Oh man, that's so cool. I'm so happy I have that. Okay, so the next one is called Santiago Sea Blue, and it's by Organic Studio. Okay, let me see. Whoa, that is super dark. Okay, wow, okay. So this is Organic Studio. In Santiago's Sea Blue. Let's see what this looks like. I think that, so there's a red sheening to it. And then it really pops up when you're writing. I saw somebody review some, like their best and worst inks of 2023 the other day, and I was just so surprised. They said that they were so light sensitive that this red sheening ink they had actually gave them a headache, and I'm wondering if this one is that the ink that they have been using, because it's quite a dramatic sheen. Wow. Okay, the next one is J. Herbin's Eclat de Sapphire. So, ooh, this is a purple. See, I love this. The clarity of this ink, it makes me think of this platinum and J. Herbin. There's just something about these two that there's just, it's like pure rose and pure green to me. Very much, it speaks to me very much so. So this is J. Herbin. I'm still getting the hang of this nib. Eclat de Sapphire. Okay. So let's do some even thicker line. It's just like the name, clear sapphire, or the clarity of sapphire, something along those lines, if my high school French isn't failing me. Okay, and then this one is Noodler's Polar Blue. I had some health issues a while back that made me very forgetful, and I think I made 2 separate orders of inks of ink samples in a very short period of time, but I do not recall ordering so many blues. It must have been from that time. So this one is Noodler's Polar Blue. Huh. This is a Noodler Polar. And I got a lot on there. Whoops. That is such an interesting color. It's very dull. Surprisingly dull. I don't know how I got so much on there. Not intentional. But yeah, that's Noodler's Polar Blue. I don't know what that says about the ink property. I think maybe I need to maybe I will learn a little bit more over time about the various ink properties. I mean, I'm more familiar with different types of paints than I am with fountain pens, but I am very fountain pen inks, but I am very, very curious about painting with these and how to do so, how I would dilute some of this stuff. Anyway, the next one is from Papier Plume, Forget Me Not Blue. And this one, I feel like I just did this one. No, I just seem to have ordered a lot of blues that were very similar and a lot of violets. So this one, it's interesting because it is not as clear as the J. Herbin, but it's very close to it. So this one is called Papier Plume. Forget Me Not. What a lovely name. So, yeah, wow, that's pretty. quite like that. I might need to ink that up. Even though this one, it has like the clarity that I tend to like in an ink, there's something about the variation in the ink where it pools compared to areas where it doesn't, that is just very pretty and very apropos of the name. So I might actually, yeah, I might actually ink that one up. And the last one is this Organic Studio Nitrogen. I think I tried this once. Ooh, that is very, very dramatic. So this is an Organic Studio. Let's see how this dries down. It seems like that's the thing with Organic Studio, at least according to the swatches that I remember, that they dry down very dramatically. That's quite interesting. Oh, yep, it's turning, just taking on a very reddish sheen. Yep. Wow, that is very bright. Oh, you know what? I'm realizing I have here a bottle that I forgot. This is actually a bottle that I purchased because I thought that this was the prettiest turquoise ever, and I've used quite a lot of it. It has that same property that the rose cyclamen has, and that green platinum ink has. This is the Lamian turquoise. I really, really love this ink. It's just something to these very, very, it's beautiful in a bold nib. It's striking in a very thin nib. Let's see, I think I like that more than the Leonardo turquoise, which, yeah, one's brighter and happier to me. All right, so, okay, moving on. I know this is very, very long. I'm going to speed up all of this, including, well, actually, I guess that would not sound very good. This is going to be my first real YouTube video related to fountain pens, or maybe ever about crafting or stationery, even though I've been a lifelong lover. So this is Robert Oster's signature ink in Verde Dorio. Robert Oster signature in Verde Dorio. That looks very cool. I might want to get a whole bottle of that, or at least ink something up in that. Something with a bold nib. That would be cool. I don't know if it's visible, but as it dries, you can see a lot of, as the ink pools, it just makes a beautiful gradient. Very, very nice. And then this is another turquoise. Oh, I see. So why don't I finish up the greens? There's just one more, I think. And then there's a bunch of turquoise. So we'll finish up the greens, we'll go to the turquoises, and then the two stragglers. That must have come in a sampler of favorites. Wow. This is Green Cactus Eel. It's from Noodlers. That is so fun. I like that too. That's what's so cool about doing this type of swatching. You just end up discovering your ink collection. I think that this Kakimori pen is such a great investment. I resisted the hype when it first came out, and now I am very happy that I changed my mind, because I would not know that I had experienced such beautiful colors in the past and really enjoyed them. So I think I may need to ink up a pen with that as well. Okay, so let's move on to the turquoise. Can you? Wow, that Organic Studio really dried red. I mean, it went down as a very, very deep, deep blue, and now it's almost entirely red. This must be the one that the video I said referenced as being very distracting. Okay, so let's actually, since we're going to do, let's do all the turquoises together. This is the Carbon Black by Platinum. It's so black and inky. I can't see where the ink is, so I don't want to go too crazy. Wow, that is a very dramatic black, and I imagine that it would be beautiful in a fine nib. So I like that. I think it's not very easy to find blacks with sufficient opacity in fountain pen inks, or maybe that's just because I always used the cheap stuff before, things that came in cartridges along with my pens. I have one more that is kind of random. It's the Robert Oster Rose Gold Antiqua. I don't tend to buy inks of this color, but we'll try it because I have it. Huh. I don't know what I think about this. I think I will need to try a little bit more. Robert Oster Rose Gold Antiqua. There's no shine or anything that I can see. It's just a very vintagey color, and I'm realizing through this exercise that I look for one of two properties. It's either that there's a lot of clarity to the ink, or the color is just very, very vibrant and clear, or I like things with a lot of variation when it pools, like the Lamy Turquoise and this Robert Oster signature. I'm not sure how it's drying. There's little bits of shimmer in it. If I go over that T again. I think this, if I had this in a deeper nib, I think I might actually, it's either missing shimmer or needs to be a little bit darker. see, like on the second time writing the name, I like it more, but I don't think this color is for me. It's not saturated enough. Okay, finally, I've got 6 more. And I will. So, Organic Studio Aldous Huxley. Try to get enough ink to swatch. Okay. All right, this is Aldous Huxley. I read so much about this ink. I was super excited to see it, and now I'm wondering if it's going to be very dramatically different wet from dry, like the other two that I have samples of. I feel like Organic Studio is very similar to the Wearing Goo inks, which I recently discovered, because they both promise such interesting properties. So this is, again, like something with a bluish tone or undertone with reddish kind of sheen. So I probably do need to, so that was the Santiago C, and then that was nitrogen. Oh, that's pretty dramatic. And then comparing that to, so this Organic Studio Aldous Huxley stays pretty turquoise. There's just hints of red. So if you like that, and that's the difference between those three. And then there's this Blue Water. It's a Robert Oster signature. Put some in the cap here. Okay. Oh, this is a green. That's so funny. I would not have thought a Blue Water would be green. Okay, this is Robert Oster. This must be something else. I'm not sure. So, signature Blue Water. Blue Water Ice. I mean, it looks like straight up green to me. But this is the thing. I'm doing this. I mean, I don't know about everybody else, but I'm coming back to this hobby after a long medical journey. I've never been serious about this hobby at all, but the fountain pen community is so fun, and I got my first fountain pen when I was in high school, and so I've always loved pens of all varieties, and I'm so happy to be able to participate in this community and share my collection. It's just so fun, and hopefully I get to interact with some people who share the same hobby. Okay, this is a Diamine Marine. It's fairly straightforward. I don't have enough ink. I do like the writing sample on this quite a bit. There's so much complexity. It's almost like the outline is a darker color than the inside of the letters, so that looks really cool. I'd put a bold nib on that for sure. Or I'd put that in a pen with a bold nib for sure. Then this Noodler's Turquoise of the Mesas. Goulet Pens does such a great job selling all of these inks. really makes you want to try all of them. Not sure how this is registering. I'm just using my iPhone so I can't see it myself, but this is the Noodlers, how this is registering on the screen. Turquoise of the Mesas. But yeah, what I was gonna say is, like, I don't know, other people have done such wonderful and much more professional jobs than this is. I just want to share and learn from others and be able to share my small collection, or I guess much larger than I thought now, but relatively small collection, with a community of like-minded people. So, okay. So this is Polar Glow from Diamine. And I think this is one of the ink fen calendars. And I just couldn't bring myself to buy a whole calendar when I knew I had more than enough ink to last me a lifetime. So what I did instead was to buy the sample. And I'm happy I did, because I seem to like these blues and deep turquoises that have some type of red undertone. I think I've had multiple inks now with that very same property, and what's so funny is that they're so similar to the Emerald de Chauvoir, the classic. Okay, let's see. Then we've got one ink left, which is this is so funny. It's the Jacques Herbin Emerald of Chauvoir, 1670. So since I've already swatched that, obviously I'm not going to do that again. But yeah, that is my current ink collection. And looking at some of these after the fact, this Robert Oster Rose Gold is actually so cool. I never thought I liked rose inks before, but I like this one a lot. So going through all of these things that I am going to try to ink, I think the Sazerac ended up cooler than I expected. I need to get a pen with a nib for calligraphy. I am not very familiar with all these specialty nibs, so if anybody has a recommendation on what to get, I'd be really open to it. But yeah, I think that the Diamine Marine is also unexpectedly lovely. I don't think that's right. I might have accidentally used it for something. I probably gave somebody an ink sample of this green just because I love it so much, and then maybe had two. But yeah, so that's my collection. And then this Sailor is super cool too. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you have suggestions of other inks that I should try based on what I said that I tend to favor here. Have a good night.